Abella Danger was 27 years old. She lived in a sleek, modern high-rise apartment in downtown Miami, Florida, a city whose vibrant, chaotic energy perfectly mirrored her own. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a glittering panorama of the Biscayne Bay, a view that served as a constant reminder of how far she had come from her humble beginnings. Her annual income was a testament to her status as a top-tier performer and savvy businesswoman. Through film contracts, her wildly successful website, brand endorsements, and strategic investments, she earned an estimated $1.8 million a year. She was a phenomenon, instantly recognizable for her raw, untamed beauty and a presence that was both intimidating and utterly captivating. But the woman who now commanded six-figure paychecks and the adoration of millions was forged in the crucible of hardship and a fierce, unyielding will to survive. Before the world knew her as Abella Danger, she was simply Isabella, a girl with a storm in her eyes. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood in Miami, her family, Cuban immigrants, worked tirelessly to build a better life, instilling in her a powerful work ethic but struggling to understand the tempestuous spirit of their daughter. From a young age, Isabella possessed a physicality that set her apart. She wasn't just pretty. She was striking. Her body was naturally athletic and curvaceous, a genetic lottery win of a petite waist that curved dramatically into strong, powerful hips and shapely legs. Her most defining feature, however, was her face. She had large, expressive hazel eyes that could shift from warm amber to a stormy green depending on her mood, framed by a wild mane of dark, unruly curls. Her full lips often settled into a natural pout, giving her a look of perpetual, defiant intensity. Unlike many of her peers, she rejected the notion of surgical enhancement. Her breasts were completely natural, full and perfectly proportioned to her frame, a point of personal pride in an industry often associated with artifice. She was fiercely, authentically herself, and that very authenticity made her feel like an outsider in her own world. School was a cage. The strict rules and predictable path graduate, maybe community college, a safe job, a traditional marriage felt like a death sentence. She clashed with authority, her sharp tongue and refusal to conform earning her a reputation as a troublemaker. The boys were either intimidated by her or saw her as a conquest, a challenge to be tamed. Neither appealed to her. She felt a restless, primal energy coursing through her, a need for something more, something real and visceral that the sanitized world around her couldn't offer. Her escape was dance. She found a raw, physical release in the pulsating rhythms of reggaeton and hip-hop at local clubs. On the dance floor, she wasn't the difficult girl from the barrio. She was a force of nature, her body moving with an innate, untamed grace that drew every eye in the room. It was in these clubs that she first encountered the darker side of the city's nightlife. She started dancing for money, first at legitimate venues, then, out of financial desperation, at seedier establishments. The money was good, far better than any waitressing job, but the environment was toxic. She endured lecherous stares, groping hands, and the constant pressure from managers to do more, to be more. She learned to build a wall around herself, her expressive eyes turning into shields of cold defiance. She was selling a fantasy, but she was in complete control of the transaction. It was here she first heard whispers of the industry in California, a place where girls with looks like hers could make a real fortune. Not just scrape by, the catalyst for her escape was a violent encounter with a drunk, aggressive patron that the club's security did little to stop. That night, covered in bruises but with her spirit unbroken, she made a decision. She wouldn't be a victim in a system designed to exploit her. She would take the very thing they wanted, her body, her intensity, her danger, and use it as her weapon. She spent weeks researching, her sharp mind analyzing the adult industry not as a den of iniquity, but as a marketplace. She saw the performers who were successful, the ones who had agency. She understood that her unique, girl next door from the wrong side of the tracks look, combined with her natural athleticism and that fiery, almost dangerous energy, was a marketable brand. She chose her name with deliberate care, Abella, a variation of her own, meaning breath, and danger, a direct reflection of the untamable force she knew herself to be. It was a promise and a warning. She used her last savings to book a professional photo shoot. The photographer, a seasoned veteran of the Miami scene, was stunned. "Most girls try to look sexy," he told her, adjusting his lens. "You just are sexy. It's in your DNA. And those eyes. They tell a whole story." She sent the photos to every major agency in Los Angeles. The response was immediate and electric. They saw what the photographer saw, a raw, unpolished diamond with a fire that couldn't be faked. An agent from a powerful boutique firm called her personally. "You have something we haven't seen in years," the woman said, her voice crisp and professional. "A real edge. We can get you a test shoot with a major studio. The pay is $5,000, $5,000 for a day's work." It was more money than she had ever seen. She bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, telling her family a carefully crafted story about a modeling contract. Her mother, with worry in her eyes, hugged her tightly, sensing her daughter was stepping into an unknown world. But Abella's true genius, much like her namesake, was laced with danger, a sharp, analytical mind that understood the business far beyond the camera lens. While others saw a career, she saw a balance sheet. She watched performers come and go, chewed up by the system, their earnings squandered or controlled by others. She remembered the lecherous club owners in Miami and was determined never to be in a position of vulnerability again. She became a student of the digital landscape, recognizing early that the real power wasn't in being a contract star for a studio, but in owning her brand, lock, stock, and barrel. She launched her website and social media channels with a clear strategy. Unfiltered access to the real Abella. She shared glimpses of her life in Miami, her intense workout routines that honed her already formidable physique, her thoughts on everything from music to politics. She wasn't selling a sanitized fantasy. She was selling a friendship with the coolest, most intimidatingly authentic woman you could imagine. Her followers, who dubbed themselves her danger zone, were fiercely loyal. She built a direct-to-fan empire that generated revenue streams which dwarfed her film earnings, making her financially untouchable and answerable only to herself. This unprecedented autonomy, however, made her a target. The old guard, the producers and agents who were used to controlling the narratives and finances of their stars, saw her as a threat. A smear campaign was launched by a rival agency, planting stories in tabloids that labeled her difficult, temperamental, and ungrateful. They claimed her famous intensity was just a cover for a nasty disposition, trying to tarnish the very brand she had so carefully built. The attack reached its peak when a disgruntled former associate gave a salacious interview, fabricating stories about on-set diva behavior and claiming her all-natural body was, in fact, the result of skilled surgery, a direct attack on her core brand of authenticity. The blogs picked it up, and for a moment, the narrative seemed to be slipping from her grasp. Abella's response was pure, unadulterated danger. Instead of hiding, she went on a popular, controversial podcast known for its confrontational host. The host, expecting a defensive, fragile woman, immediately went on the offensive, bringing up the difficult label. Abella didn't flinch. Her hazel eyes locked onto his, and a slow, dangerous smile spread across her full lips. "Difficult?" she repeated, her voice calm and low. "Let's talk about what difficult means. It means I read my contracts. It means I demand to be paid what I'm worth. It means I won't be pressured into scenes I'm not comfortable with. It means I own my own image. If that makes me difficult to men who are used to exploiting young women, then guilty as charged. And as for my body," she continued, her gaze never wavering, "everything you see is 100% Abella Danger. I don't need silicone to have confidence. My power comes from within." The host was left speechless. The interview went viral. It didn't just shut down the rumors. It cemented her status as an icon of female empowerment and unapologetic self-ownership. She had taken the smear campaign and turned it into a manifesto. The public, and more importantly, her fans, adored her even more for her fierce defiance. In the years that followed, Abella Danger became more than a performer. She became a mogul and a mentor. She started her own production company, focusing on high-quality, female-centric content that treated performers with respect and paid them fairly. She became a vocal advocate for mental health within the industry, speaking openly about the pressures and the importance of boundaries. She used her wealth to invest in her beloved Miami, supporting local businesses and charities. Now, at 27, looking out over the Miami skyline from her penthouse, Abella Danger possesses a power that is deeper than fame or money. It is the power of self-possession.